My name is Hon Anayo Edwin. I represent the good people of Ezanot, Ishielu Federal Constituency. I'm from Ebonyi State. Mr. Speaker, I'm here to move motion on need to prioritize and integrate fertility treatment into the existing reproductive health policies in Nigeria. The House notes that marriage and procreation are intertwined in Nigeria in particular and in Africa in general, as a childbearing is highly valued in all communities indigenous to Africa. Given that children are seen as insurance for their parents in their old age,
Chairman Integrity Group, please sit down.
Aware that
Chairman Integrity Group.
Infertility has been defined as
Chairman Transparency Group, please sit down.
Desiring couples to achieve pregnancy after 1 year of regular unprotected
Chairman
sex
Transparency Group, please sit down.
without any known reproductive problem.
Chairman Transparency, please sit down.
Also aware that Nigeria accounts for about 30% of the estimated 70 million married couples suffering from infertility globally, thus making over 60% of gynecological clinic consultation in Nigeria infertility related. Worried that regardless of the medical cause of infertility, women receive the blame for reproductive setback, and as such, they suffer personal grief, frustration, depression, social stigma, and economic deprivation. Also aware that because infertility is a major cause of marital disharmony and divorce in Nigeria, 98% of wives in marriages with infertility challenges live in continuous fear of abandonment, domestic violence, and divorce by their husband. Disturbed that couples with infertility challenges who cannot afford modern reproductive techniques after a series of failed traditional and spiritual treatments now resort to engaging in sex with multiple partners regardless of each attendance risk, just to prove their fertility, thereby creating a more difficult challenge to public health in Nigeria. Also disturbed that although infertility has become a hydra-headed monster, threatening a good number of marriages in Nigeria, it has not received any attention from policymakers. Rather, reproductive health policies of successive governments only focus on infant, maternal care, and birth control without a look at the challenges of childlessness as a result of proven infertility. Concerned that although advancement in medical science has made it possible, the couples with fertility problems who desire to have their own biological children can seek alternative reproductive techniques like IVF, ICSI, donor egg, embryo, GIFT, or ZIFT, etc., to achieve their dreams. The cost of these techniques are beyond the reach of 80% of infertile couples, as the cheapest cost of IVF treatment across the globe is between 800,000 to 1 million naira, thus making countries like Argentina, Norway, South Africa, etc., to subsidize the treatment for their citizens. Also concerned that these modern medical techniques have completely been left for private hospitals alone to handle without any public hospital in any part of Nigeria rendering any of these services, thereby making them inaccessible to a greater number of Nigerians living with this challenge of infertility. further concerned that in a country where manhood and womanhood are tied to fatherhood and motherhood, respectively, and childless couples are treated in some communities as outcasts, infertility should not be seen as a means of population control, but rather as a public health emergency which must be attended to urgently. The House resolved urge the Federal Ministry of Health and its agencies to include and prioritize fertility treatment in the national reproductive health policies and train adequate manpower in that sector. 2. Also urge the federal government to establish fertility center in at least one federal institution in each of the 6 geopolitical zones and equip them with state-of-the-art facilities, and also to subsidize the cost of infertility treatment generally for childless couples, and mandate the Committee on Healthcare Services to ensure implementation and report back to the House within 8 weeks for further legislative action. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Honorable
The good people of Ezano, Tishel Federal Constituency. I'm from my boy state. Mr. Speaker, I think I have already made some debates. I've gone far in debating this motion with the body of the motion. But let me add little. Honorable colleagues, I'm sure that each and every one of us here have either heard of or seen a childless couple. Some of them are our brothers. Some of them are our sisters, brother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, our cousins, our friends, and our relatives. This set of couples suffer a lot of psychological trauma, which affects them productively in their choosing career in life, because greater percent of their quiet times are consumed by their thoughts of possible solution to childlessness. And what people say or think about them is always their problem. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, a lot of marriages affected by this challenge end up in divorce, while some of the parties are lead into undesired polygamy or extramarital relationship just to prove their impotency. This has led to sexual transmitted diseases and deaths of some of the victims of this health condition, just to make sure they have their child of their own. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, a lot of the persons who are caught in this web of childlessness are citizens of this great country, whose welfare are elected for pursuit through our legislation. However, there is no health policy in this country. To my own knowledge, I have investigated, I have looked around, I have searched, I couldn't see any public hospitals that attend to this issue. Mr. Speaker, I urge you to support this motion so that attention of our reproductive health policy handlers will be drawn to the plight of these special people, so as to protect them from the stigmatization and pains that come through childlessness. Because I know very well the pains that these people pass through is what we cannot be here to quantify. Like I said earlier, that most of us have a relatives that have this type of problem. And our public sectors in health have not really sat down to look into it and accommodate them in their own policies. Mr. Speaker, Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Any further contributors?